Now, the dissenting justices called today's decision indefensible, and they said the court rewrote legal rules to reach today's result. They said if this law had been on the books in Pennsylvania, it could have prevented the deaths of that patient and 3 infants, and these laws were intended to shut down unsafe clinics. Vlad?
So, Jan, how significant is this ruling for abortion rights?
Oh, I think it's a major victory for abortion rights supporters, and they certainly were calling it one today. I mean, there had been a real concern that if the decision had gone the other way, that, of course, would have encouraged other states to pass similar laws and then gone even beyond this law. They really saw this as a direct threat to the underpinnings of Roe versus Wade, which, of course, guaranteed a woman's right to an abortion, and then the major 1992 landmark decision in the Casey case out of Pennsylvania that really solidified that right.
And Jan, give us a sense of what the arguments were for and against the Texas law.
Well, Texas, of course, passed this law in 2013, kind of in the wake of the murder trial of Dr. Kermit Gosnell, who's ran this clinic in Pennsylvania where there were horrific abuses that led to the death of a patient and those 3 infants. So Texas and 12 other states had similar laws that they said were designed to protect the health and safety of women who were seeking abortions. But abortion rights supporters said that is just a ruse, that this law and these other similar laws really weren't designed to protect women, but were designed, in fact, to shut down abortion clinics and make it more difficult for women to get abortions. And that is the argument. The latter argument is one that the court wrote today and embraced in its majority opinion.
And Jan, Justice Kennedy has had a very split history when it comes to abortion laws. He was obviously the author of a 1992 Planned Parenthood law that said that abortion laws could not provide an undue burden to women. But he was also in the majority in 2007 when Congress decided to ban late-term abortions.
Well, I think that is a great kind of unanswerable question, and Justice Kennedy is always, I think, difficult to predict. And of course, conservatives would really hope that he would remain with the conservatives in this case, but liberals held out hope that he would kind of walk over to their side and agree with the liberal justices on the Supreme Court that Texas and these other states had gone too far. I think Justice Kennedy is really emerged now, though, as, of course, and has been for quite some time, the key swing vote on all of these social issues. It's not just abortion, but it's affirmative action. We saw it in the immigration case last week. And all of these key social issues, same-sex marriage, gay rights, Justice Kennedy's vote often is pivotal. Remember, he was nominated by President Reagan. He was considered a conservative, but he often sides with liberals on these key social issue cases, just crushing, I think, the hopes of conservatives. So I think what we've seen today, and even more broadly this term, is that a reminder that Justice Kennedy is very often going to walk over to the liberal side and provide that decisive 5th vote for the liberal justices to get the more liberal outcome. But he's also someone who will never really go too far with the liberals. He's very much someone who will allow a number of regulations and restrictions, not only, like I said, on abortion, but he'll scale back, say, the use of affirmative action to a certain extent. He just will never kind of say never. He's never going to go all the way with conservatives and say that you can ban a woman's right to an abortion, or that colleges and universities can never consider someone's race in their admissions process. He's very much, I think, now emerged as kind of the key centrist. It's almost a mistake, I think, to label him as a conservative anymore.
And Jan, was it unusual at all, even though he was the deciding vote, to have Stephen Breyer write the opinion?
Well, that was his decision. I mean, he's the senior justice. The way the court works is the senior justice who's in the majority gets to assign the opinion. So typically, Justice Kennedy does like to keep a lot of these decisions for himself. Remember, he was the author of all the pivotal rulings that paved the way for the big same-sex marriage decision that we got from the court this year. He often writes in affirmative action cases. He always likes to write in these abortion cases. So I think that it was very interesting that he asked Justice Breyer, assign this decision to Justice Breyer to write for the majority instead of writing it for himself. And I think that's hard to predict. I mean, we don't know why he did that. It could have been strategic. He may have just decided that this was not the issue that he felt like he really wanted, he didn't write separately either, to really write about. So we don't really know why, but I completely agree with you that it was very notable.
And finally, Jan, I'm guessing had Justice Antonin Scalia still been on the bench, we would have had a different outcome today.
No, I don't think so. And that's the one thing I think we've seen, when you kind of see people wringing their hands about this 8-justice court now with the death of Justice Scalia in February. On a lot of these big cases, the decision, or the outcome at least, very much would have been the same. I mean, today's decision was 5-3. If Justice Scalia had been on the court, he would have provided a 4th vote in dissent with the conservatives. In the immigration case, he would have provided a vote with the conservatives, but the outcome would have been the same in that case. The president would have lost. So in some of these big cases, certainly Scalia's absence is felt. His language and his dissents is felt, and some of his majority opinions. But kind of most of the big ones that we've gotten here at the end, the outcome would have been the same if he had been on the court.
Jan Crawford reporting for us in Washington. Jan, thank you.
Thanks, Vlad.